Yep.
If I'm closing 25% today, can I be better? Yeah, absolutely. But can I be closing 50% tomorrow?
Yeah.
Not likely. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about goal setting, how most people really aren't very good at it, and try to give you some actionable ways to get a lot better at it.
Yeah, it's that time of year. We're heading into fourth quarter. We're thinking about how do we finish this year strong, looking at what we've done up to this point, how did third quarter go, and so on. And then we're also looking at how are we going to make 2026 a banner year as far as results and staying on track. Yeah, so what we're going to do for you guys is this will be a little bit different from what a lot of our episodes are. We're going to do some role playing. You guys know in sales, really effective sales teams run regular meetings where they role play what it looks like to come up against different conversation scenarios with your customers. And we're going to do a similar thing here. We're going to role play with what does it look like to set effective goals.
Absolutely. So not in any kind of weird way, for sure. But I think that the practice of going through this is important. And one of the things that Jay and I have been working with, several of our clients at this point, and even now going through it. And that's the reason we're together here at Powerful in our headquarters today in Minnesota. We're going through our end of the year planning ourselves. And one of the things that keeps coming up as a common theme for both of us in our conversations is whether it's, the individual players on teams or even some of the team leaders, we all have these really great ideas of, where we want to go or what we want to be in the future. But the path to get there is not really always the clearest, right?
Yep.
And when we lay those things out, the sad thing is we want these things, but if we don't maybe put together a clear path on how to get there, we have a tendency to fall short. I know you're experiencing the same thing in some of the conversations you're having with people out there.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
So hopefully today what we'll be able to do is give you kind of some talking points and things that you'll be able to, share with your people and start coaching people not only how to talk better with each other in guiding them through that process, but more importantly, probably able to talk better internally with themselves about, all right, hey, this is the things that I'm struggling with right now. And this is what I want to do better. This is what I want to do differently. And hey, here's the in-between part, right? Because that's the most important part about a goal and goal setting and how do we get to that spot. So.
Yeah. And, Brene Brown says, clear is kind and unclear is unkind. And when you are thinking about goal setting, both for yourself personally and then professionally for an organization, if your team doesn't have clear goals, if they don't have a clear map in front of them of where they're going, there's going to be misunderstandings. There's going to be miscommunication and missed opportunities. So that's the idea here today as we talk a little bit about what does it mean in practical terms to gain clarity on what your goals are.
So let's talk before we get into the role play, Jay, a little bit about, I think, some of the areas that people fall short or fail when it comes to goal setting, right? Because I think ideally what we'll be able to do is role play maybe some successful things in setting goals and cutting off those kind of pitfalls that we see pretty normally. So key things that we're looking for when we're setting goals: repeatable, measurable,
Yep.
right? And attainable, I think is another thing that is really, really key, right? Look, I'd love to have a six-pack, but I don't think it's happening next week, okay? So, those things are really, really important to know, right? If we're equating it to maybe like a sales world,
Yep.
If I'm closing 25% today, can I be better? Yeah, absolutely. But can I be closing 50% tomorrow?
Yep.
Not likely.
Yep.
And if I were to, go from 25 to 30%, that would be really great. But if I set the goal at 50, then that's an automatic failure. And that's not a good thing to have as an experience. So it's really important to have those kind of three things laid out for yourself. And it's important to make those things attainable as well, too. So yeah. I think where we see a lot of people are falling short is, hey, I want this really great thing for myself. I want this really great change, but they don't lay out those repeatable, measurable, and attainable kind of steps for themselves to get there. Yep. Would you agree?
Yeah, 100%.
So this works, I think, both personally, like in your personal world and professional world.
Yep.
So we had talked a little bit about maybe role playing 2 examples.
Yep.
And I think, one of the things that we see going into the end of a year and going into the beginning of the following year is the January workout warriors that fill up the gym, right?
Yep.
I have been as guilty as anybody else of being that. So January comes, the gym is swamped or flooded with new people in there.
Yep.
And then February 1st hits and crickets.
Yep.
Right.
Machines are empty.
Have you been part of that crowd yourself?
Yep.
Yeah, I think we all have. So talk to us a little bit about like when you've had those experiences, what you think have led to the failure in those experiences.
Yeah. Going back to the clearest kind, I'm middle-aged. I've had my weight go up, and you get to a point where you're like, shoot, I have to like add a belt hole to my belt. Like something's wrong. Right. It's too many midnight snacks or too many beers or whatever it is. And you're trying to solve this problem. And then, just casually, I'm like, oh, I should lose 25 pounds.
Sure.
Sounds like a good number. I'm like, sweet, I got it dialed in, but I have no plan to lose the weight.
So it's about that plan. You're better than me. I blame my wife for striking my belt right in the wash or something, but we won't reopen that wound or that fight at this point. Yeah. So, all right. So let's say we're sitting down and I'm going to be, and I know this is a stretch. So remember, this is a role play. I'm not necessarily an actual fitness advisor or anything along those lines. I know it's hard to believe, right?
Disclaimer.
Yeah. But you sit down with me and we're gonna have this plan, right?
Yep. Okay.
So Jay, I know we got a big goal here. We're gonna make some changes and we're gonna get ourselves into a healthier spot. It's great. That's a good first step, right? So talk to me a little bit about what you'd like to accomplish.
I want to lose weight.
Okay. That's a good overall goal. So when you say you want to lose weight, let's be specific, Jay. Yeah. Where are you at now?
I'm a healthy 220 pounds. I would like to be 195 pounds.
195. Okay, perfect. All right. So we have a difference of 30 pounds there, right? When do you want to have it off by?
Tomorrow. Does that work?
Yeah, it could. I got a pretty sharp knife in the back. So there's a real painful way to get there that quickly.
Sure.
Right? But realistically, probably not. Okay. So this is an important part of it. This doesn't happen overnight, right? Right. So what if we said, hey, by the end of the year, we could get there? Would that be okay?
Yeah. Yeah. That's 2.5 months.
Well, by the end of next year.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're going to set our start date for this year, right? So we don't lose all 30 of that in one day, right? We lose that a little bit at a time, gradually. And is there a chance that we have some setbacks in that?
Yeah. Holidays.
Yeah, for sure. Right. You're a human being. Those things happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to set attainable benchmarks for that as well, too. Right. So you have to set minor steps across that, across each threshold. So maybe we set an average per week that you want to have, come off, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Right. So if we take the 52 weeks in a year and we said, hey, we're going to divide that over 52 weeks and we want to stay on a pace of X.
Yep.
Do you think that that's attainable for you?
A half a pound a week sounds a lot easier to do than 25 pounds in a day.
That might allow you that cheat meal or, beer or whatever it is that would be a reward for a really good week or something along those lines, right? Okay. So do you think we could write that down?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, go ahead, write it down.
Yeah, I'm going to write that down.
Perfect.
Fresh piece of paper. 2026. Here we come.
All right. So that's a target for you.
Yeah.
But that doesn't just happen because you wrote it down, right? So what are things about our lifestyle, our process that we need to change in order for that stuff to happen?
Yeah, probably eat less.
Okay. Well, we still got to eat to survive, right? Right. And you still got to eat a certain amount to, be healthy and moving around and doing the things you want to do. I know you got a whole lot of kids that you want to chase around and have fun with and all those things as well, too. So what if we were looking at something that was, again, talk about attainable, right?
Yeah.
If we just cut out all of our calories, you're going to get tired.
Yeah.
I know you're going to get cranky.
Yeah.
Okay. Your wife is not going to like you too much when you're cranky.
Yeah.
Right. So what of the things you're eating could you maybe eat a little differently?
I really like cookies and pizza.
And they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay. What if we cut them down a little bit? Right.
Yeah, that sounds achievable.
Right. Do you think instead of having them, how often are we eating those things right now?
Well, 5 times a week is a good week.
That is a great week. Right. What if we made that I got 1 cookie and 1 slice of pizza a week?
Yeah.
Is that doable?
That is doable.
Okay. Do you think we could write that down?
Yeah. And I'm going to pick Fridays. Fridays is pizza and cookie day.
Friday's a good day.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's a change that we can make that's measurable.
Yeah.
Right. That we can say we had a good week to that goal or not so good week.
Yep.
Okay. And if we had a bad week, we could make an adjustment the following week, right?
Yep.
So if you double dip this week,
Yeah.
guess what we don't get to do the next week?
No cookies.
No cookies, right? So you get to make up for it. All right. All right. So we got our eating in line, right? How about our other side of the coin? Maybe moving a little bit more.
Yeah. Exercise.
Okay.
I don't do a lot right now. I sit at my desk a lot. So moving more, I could lift weights with my kids.
Okay. So again, great goal, great thought, high level thought, but let's be a little bit more specific, right? Remember, repeatable, specific and measurable, right? And achievable. So I don't think you're going to go in and start bench pressing 400 pounds.
Yep.
Which unfortunately happens to too many people when they show up at the gym, then they're too sore to go to the gym the next day.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what would be a reasonable goal to set for yourself as far as weightlifting, the amount of time each week?
Yeah. I think 2 or 3 times is a big win. And now that we're talking about this, I use an app called Strong Lifts 5x5.
Okay.
And the thing I like about it is it records the results and it records the rest.
Perfect.
So yeah, and my kids would be happy to lift 3 times a week.
Okay. So 3 times a week.
Yep.
Now here's the second part of that, right? You have an app, but the app only works if you do what?
Open it.
Open it and log in, right?
Yep.
Okay. So it's 2 parts. You're going to do it 3 times a week and you're going to log it and record it 3 times a week.
Mhm.
Now, here's the other part. There's actually a third part to that one in particular. You can't exceed it, because if you exceed it because you're feeling good in a week, because you'll start to feel better,
Yep.
right? What happens when you start exceeding it, though? Push yourself a little too fast, you get a little too far ahead of your skis, and all of a sudden
Yep.
you start to backtrack, right?
Yep.
Same, in some of the other parts of our lives, right, where we start to get a little too far ahead of our goal or ahead of the pace. We end up kind of causing ourselves a little bit of a detriment. We go in the wrong direction, right?
Yep.
So the important thing is what we're building here for ourselves is what? It's a process.
Yep.
Right. And what we agreed upon on the first, part of this is that it's not going to happen in a day.
Yep.
Right. The old saying is that Rome's not built in a day. Right. We agreed that by the end of the year, we're going to be where we want to be. So what we need to have is at the end of each week, we're going to celebrate that win.
Yep.
That half-pound win each week is what we're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And we're not worried about the 30-pound win at the end of the year.
Yep.
We're worried about this week's win and that week win only. Make sense?
Yeah, I'm on board.
Cool. I like it, man.
Yeah, you're a great inspirational trainer there, Matt.
Well, I like it, man. I'm not going to see you at the gym because, I'm going to have my cookies too.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
All right. So again, kind of walking through this and bringing it back to our conversation with our people, right? This is what most people show up though. And I know you're experiencing it too. Like with these types of conversations, right? I want to be healthier. I want to lose weight, or I want to be, a better closer or whatever it is. I want to close 50%. Yeah, great. Cool. Well, you're going to go for 3 tomorrow. That doesn't mean it's a bad day.
Yeah.
Right. You could have ran perfect appointments. Does that mean you're a failure? It is if you wrote down 50% tomorrow on your sheet. Right.
Yeah.
So we have to find ways to be really specific about how this works and how you work through these things. And you have to find the way to kind of have these milestones, stepping stones to get through these things. Now, here's the best part. As your coach in this scenario, what have I given myself the ability to do? I've given myself the ability to pick you up in little spots and go like, hey, like you had one bad day.
Yep.
Okay. But look at your process. What didn't we work on the process?
Yep.
You had 2 cookies today. Cool. Next week, you just don't have 1.
Yep.
Okay. Is that doable?
Yep.
Right. We're right back on track. No big deal.
Yep.
I can help you with that. I'll call you on Friday and make sure that, hey, just remember, today's no cookie day. It's no big deal. Next week, you get to have a cookie too. Right. So those are the things that we got to be able to put in place for our people in order to help them get where they want to go.
Yeah.
They need that like accountability buddy as well too, to help them get where they need to go. But they also need that kind of, forget the cartographer, right? The map maker that helps them, draw the map.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think it's so important too, to, that touching on it being measurable, in your personal life, it's easy to step on a scale.
mm-hmm.
And in your professional life, there might be more complications to actually understanding how to track it and what to track, and then how often to review the numbers and stuff like that. So
100%.
I like the idea of, even a coach client in personal fitness, there's a relationship built there that gets to be ongoing and motivational.
Yeah. Yeah. I think one of the things like, when we're building these things with our reps, right? Sales reps, marketing reps, managers, whoever it is that is reporting to you that you're helping to build these goals for. One of the things that we were always trying to teach our people is the way that I look at it is that you are this business within our business, and we are an investor. We are the sole investor in your business, right?
Yeah.
From a financial standpoint, you are the blood, sweat, and tears that go into that. And I very much appreciate that. But I need you to think about it the way that I think about running this entire organization, right? So when we sit down to look at this, think about it as just you're coming to the table looking to get another investment from us for the following year. And we know that we need to continually be improving on things, both from the standpoint of earning that investment and because like you want more out of your professional life. You want more, financially and all of those things for your personal life as well too. And if you do better, the job gets easier and you get a better work-life balance, all of those things, right? So, but if I don't have a clear path to getting better, like it doesn't work, right? So you got to find a way to get those things out and done and clear. But I can't tell you every one of those conversations for the first time is, I want to close more. I want to set more appointments. Beautiful. I would love for you to do that too, right? How? You talk to more people, I guess.
So that's what I'm here for as your manager, is to help you get clarity on that.
Exactly.
Well, and something that's worth noting too is that, I like that you're shifting this relationship to it is on the customer or the employee to recognize that it is in their best interest. When a coach helps somebody lose weight, the coach doesn't get the benefit of being 25 pounds lighter, right? You don't get that benefit.
No.
Your client does. And when you train your staff to recognize that when they show up looking for investors and who they are, it changes the conversation dramatically.
And I think, you don't want it to come off as I'm holding on to that investment, like with a tight fist. No, it's right here on the table. I want you to have it, right? Like I want you to. It doesn't take an awesome pitch to earn it. Like I'm ready to invest in you. I just want to make sure that you're going to put it to the right use, right? And I want to invest in both you, financially and personally, right? So when we go through those things, it's about investing in the fact that I don't want you to beat your head against the wall trying to get better. Right. I want you to have a very clear vision at not only what better looks like, but how to get there. And I also want to be a partner in how you got there. And you make a great point, right? So yes, as a manager, I'm bonused on your numbers. As a, owner or a leader, I make more money, or the company makes more money, and all of those things when the individual players do better. Absolutely. There's benefit in that, right? But the favorite, part of that for those that are doing it the right way is the little celebrations, right? And the things that were always important in that process, for at least for me, and they should be for many people, is we get to the end of it. And, one of the first question that I would ask a rep is, what do you want to make this year? When you are finished at the end of the year on your W-2, what is that number that is success? And I would shut up. And they want you to influence it a lot, right? They want you to,
how much can I make?
You tell me, right? The only time I would influence is if somebody was way too low. Like, no, come on, you're much better than that, right? But tell me what it is, right? Tell me what it is for you to feel like it was a very successful year for Jay, right? So we go through all of this, and then I would ask one question, right? So, Jay, you made this last year, and you're saying you want to make this year to feel successful. Let's just say that's a delta of $40,000. That's a big number. That's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to high-fiving and celebrating that with you. Can I ask you a question? What does that $40,000 do for you personally? What does that change about your life personally? What do you get to do with that money? And that's the part that I want to celebrate with those guys at the end of the year, right? So, I've had people tell me, I get my dream truck. I have built this truck 1,000,000 times on the Ford, build the car app. I built it 1,000,000 times on whatever the, Toyota, whatever it is, right? Or, my mom is getting up there in age, and I get to build the mother-in-law suite and get her in the home with me, or my daughter's getting married and that pays for her wedding, those kinds of things. And I that when that happens, I have stopped meetings and gone, is that the truck? Yeah, it's a truck. Everybody, let's go outside.
That's right.
Let's go. Open the car, turn it on, show us everything, every feature. Can I go for a ride in it? That's the stuff that's cool, right? And that's what matters.
Yeah.
But they don't get there without putting in every single one of those, half-pound week steps that they need to get there. And all I got to be was a little part of like the guide in that process to help them just see the path to get there. But it's amazing to me how all of us, and I wasn't good at that either. I had to have somebody show me how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I know we're a little off topic on that.
Yeah.
It's important.
Well, and you bring up another good point about, work-life balance is kind of a lie. Work is life. And when you recognize that you spend half of your waking hours with the people that you work with, that's life. Work is life, and outside of work is life.
Mm-hmm.
And so why wouldn't you let the two feed into each other?
Yeah.
And then let's talk about it. 40 grand, buying a boat, right? I got boys, I got wakeboards, right? Let's go. And so now all of a sudden I've tied who I am and how I show up at work to who I am and how I show up at home too.
Mm-hmm.
That's a powerful motivator for people. I've talked to a lot of people over the years, but I had one that was late for work. I said, hey, what happened? And they said, oh, my kid was sick. And I'm like, okay, cool. But you have to communicate with us what's going on. And their reply was, the work will always be there. And I'm like, no, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. You're here for a lot more than just a paycheck. If you think you're here for a paycheck, you're in the wrong place.
Mm-hmm.
You're here to support those around you and receive support from them. And needless to say, that relationship ended.
Yeah.
I realized it wasn't a good fit.
It's unfortunate when people feel that way. And I think it's when you start having conversations like we're having now, right? Where you give people the opportunity to come in and build a plan to reach their goals, but also put it in a manner that is, so there's a flip side of this, right? I've seen people do this and use it as I had a manager one time ask me, he was new. And it was funny because people sat outside the room and somebody overheard the question and they gathered everybody. He asked me what my wife's name was, right? And he was brand new. And it was a real awkward spot in our conversation to ask what my wife's name was. And I, what it was. And I said, out of curiosity, why are you asking that right now? And he said, well, if I'm ever walking by and I see that you're having a bad day or things aren't going well, I just want to be able to ask, hey, what have you done for your wife lately? And he hadn't gotten to know me at all. And what he would know about me is that's not a question to ask me.
Yeah.
Because to your point, work is life. I do believe we all work to provide a good life, good opportunity, all of those things. I work my tail off to make sure that, she can do what she wants and needs and all of those things. And she works really, really hard too for me to do the same thing. Right.
Yeah.
And I took my woosah moment and I just said, okay, 1, 2, 3, don't do what you want to do, right? There's HR in this building. And I said to him, and I'll, just call him Bill for now, but I said, Bill, do me a favor. Don't ever do that. And he goes, oh, why? And I was like, because it's not necessary. Trust me, I just don't need you to do that. And I don't want to do what I think I would do if you ever did that to me.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, okay. Right. And I could hear people clamoring outside the door and they were like, we thought for sure you were going to smoke them or something like that. I was like, yeah, but if he'd have gotten to know me a lot longer, he wouldn't have he would have known that's not a button he needs for me. Right.
Yeah.
But if he'd have said hey, I know you want to take that golf trip or something along those lines, hey man, one more call might get you closer to that.
Yep.
That would have been a better thing. Cause it would have been more about what it was for me. Cause I work for everybody else, not for myself.
Yeah.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. I do want that extra thing. So, I think it's when you build that culture around understanding why it is people are working. The other thing that you can do, to your point, is not showing up on time. I understand that Susie and Bill and Jim and Erica and all of these other people, their goals and what that extra income would do for them is also tied to what that extra income would do for me. And what they're working hard to do is also helping me get a little bit closer to my goals and vice versa.
Yep.
And me showing up late and not telling somebody is causing them to be behind their goals.
Yep.
And it's this kind of ecosystem that feeds itself. That's, again, where I'm invested in that goal here at the end. And where I want to pull everybody out to go celebrate the truck means that somebody else is one step closer to their truck or whatever their truck might be, right?
Yeah.
So,
absolutely.
And I think even owners are not great at this too. I started the business so that I could be closer with my family. How many of them get closer?
Yeah. No. Historically, in the entrepreneurial world, the owner ends up looking at their business with the same loving affection as they do their children, which is great, but not if it replaces their children.
Sure.
So now all of a sudden they're choosing late nights in the office instead of little league games.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to be. And again, if you don't have that real clear outline of things and how to, make that, hard to attain work-life balance, especially as an owner and a leader, the higher up you go, you don't have boundaries and ways to kind of compartmentalize and take the time that you need to do the important things too.
Yeah.
And both are very important, right? There's no doubt about that, because there's a lot of people relying on you on both sides of that fence.
Yeah,
so,
for sure. All right. Should we try and do the salesperson?
You want to be the salesperson? You want me to be it? You want to try to reverse it?
Yeah, I would. You know what? I was going to try and reverse it, but I got to tell you what, I am not a salesperson.
You're a good salesperson. we could get you there for sure. So, all right. Well, let's have you be the salesperson. I can be the manager again. So, all right, Jay. So closing out the year.
Yep.
Right. I know we had you come in and we finished the year closing 31%. It's a good year. Right. An average job size of about 6,200 and change. And finance utilization was in that 28% range. Right. So, and overall, it looks like we did about 100,000 in total income for the year. Mm-hmm. Right. Am I off on any of the numbers?
Nope, that's the stuff I got too.
Perfect. So very first question for you. We finish out this year and I hand you your W-2. What's the number on there that makes you feel like you had a kick-ass year?
It should have said 125.
125. Okay. I like it. All right. So talk to me about the other numbers that are going to help you get there.
Well, I want to blame marketing.
Sure.
Because the leads were bad.
I'll go kick their ass. How about that?
Yeah, let's go to
there. Jay.
Yeah, that's it.
Go ahead.
That's right. Yeah, I thought I could have closed higher.
Okay.
I definitely thought, there's some other guys on the team that I'm seeing closing around 40%, and I don't see why I couldn't be at 40%.
I don't disagree with that. I think you got all the same talent and everything that they got. So 31 to 40%.
Actually, that sounds pretty big.
It's a pretty big jump, right? If you were at 35%, would you feel good about that?
I mean, I wouldn't say no to the money, but there'd be something inside of me that'd say it'd probably be higher than that.
Okay. Is there an opportunity here to say, what if we were at 35% and, when we sit down, let's say in 3 months, like we do every month, right? Mm-hmm. And we're, exceeding that or hitting that, we can reevaluate and adjust from there. Okay. Are you good with writing that down?
Yeah, I'm good with 35.
Okay. Let's start with 35 as a stepping stone. Because again, 4 points above where you are now would be a pretty good increase.
It would be.
Okay. If you think about what that does for me on a stress standpoint, right? Getting a couple extra out of every 10, that changes the game a little bit, right? So the other way you can get there is you sell slightly bigger jobs, right? So you were at, what would we say, 6,100 on your average job size or so, 6,200, I think it was. So necessarily make people have more concrete out there, but maybe we can get different portions of jobs and that kind of thing. What do you think we could do to increase the average? I'm going to help you by raising prices. Don't worry about that.
Excellent.
Right. But what do you think we can do to get that up a little bit? Do you think there's room to get that up?
Yeah, I think that I could use a little bit of help on maybe some extra ride-alongs in the first quarter and see if I'm missing something.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like I'm always looking for all of the upsells.
Okay.
I feel like I'm looking at verticals and steps, and I'm looking, for anything I can do to raise that job size.
So what if we set your goal for that to go up, let's say from 62, because the office average last year was at 64. We're going to go through a price increase. So you're just a little bit below it. I think it's attainable to get to 6,500. So $300 increase.
Yep.
So the next number might be where you could get that. We were at 28% finance utilization. It's a little lower than our goal, right? Our goal is to be north of 35%, 40% or more, right? So what do you think we could set the goal at for that?
Yeah, I bet we can move that up quite a bit, because now that you're talking about it, I could probably upsell better if I sold the idea of financing first.
Yeah, maybe instead of the big, lump payment, people are able to break this down a little smoother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 6,500 is our average job.
Yep.
Do you think we can get to 35% on that average job or average finance utilization? All right. So you already threw out some good ideas. So we got some targets, right? So we got 35% on our close rate, right? We got 6,500 on our average job and 35% or better on finance utilization. And all that's going to feed $125,000 of income for you. It's awesome, right? You threw out the idea of ride-alongs. I love that. Okay. So let's be a little bit more specific about that, though. How many per week and with who?
Yeah, I guess I thought the manager would pick that. Probably first quarter, probably 1 or 2 a week.
Okay. 1 or 2 a week. Why don't we set it at 1? One's probably very attainable. If you can get a second, great. Maybe you can do 2 on the same day with the same person. All right. Do you know anybody on the team who is, let's say, if we use financing better, do you think that affects your close rate better?
Yeah.
Do you think it affects the average shop size better?
Mm-hmm.
Both of those affect the income, right?
Yeah, I've seen the guy at the top of the charts.
And who is that? Jimmy?
Matt.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, Matt. Okay. So you think it'd be a good idea to try to target ride-alongs with him when you can?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So you're going to reach out to Matt and ask him if it's okay to talk to him about ride-alongs?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, you don't want to beat up Matt and go on ride-alongs every single week with him. Matt's usually pretty good with that, though. And if he's not, you let me know. Okay. Yep. But I think Matt's a good target to get on, at least 1 or 2 of those per month with him and see how he's doing it. And make sure you, buy him a cup of coffee afterward and ask him, for some outside of that particular appointment, type pointers. How do you feel about your knowledge on financing?
Well, I go to the team meetings, so I think that's pretty good.
Right. And I run those. They're awesome meetings, right? Well, what about, I know we have our partners, right? So we have, people outside of me talking and your peers talking. What about like industry knowledge that's available on the websites with like Upgrade and one click and those guys? Do you ever use that?
No, I haven't even thought to.
Okay. So what if we wrote down that we were going to maybe look up information on that, let's say once a month, do a reading on there?
Well, I can do that.
Pretty easily, right?
Mm-hmm.
And do we have access to our reps for them?
Mm-hmm.
Could you maybe set up a call for yourself once a month with one of those reps?
Yeah, they do that?
Absolutely, they do.
Okay.
Right? It's one of the reasons we pay the fee for, being partners with them is that we get access to coaching and those kinds of things with those guys too. So if you set that up, they'd be happy to talk to you about like the pros, cons of the programs, those kinds of things, and help give you good talking points and maybe different perspectives on different ways you can say things other than the ways that we talk about them and say them. And it's all the same kind of finish line, just different angles, right? And so we got 3 things that we can help with financing: ride-alongs with your peers, right? Some online research and some talking with maybe somebody outside of our organization that has a similar viewpoint, but maybe a different angle. Like it. Right. So what are maybe some things that you can do to evaluate your appointments and how you're running them?
Mm-hmm. I should probably record some and watch myself or listen to myself.
I love that. Okay.
That feels so cringe.
It is.
I need to do that.
Yeah. Sometimes being uncomfortable is a good thing though. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what if I help you with this? What if maybe for the first month we do once a week, we do a role play that we record.
Yeah.
I won't even have to listen to it with you. Mm-hmm. I'll let you listen to it yourself, right? Take some notes down, right? But sometimes we think we sound really good until we hear ourselves played back, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll do that once a week together. Mm-hmm. I'm going to rely on you to schedule that time with me though. Fair enough? Yep. You guys have access to my calendar. You scheduled on my calendar. We'll do it. It could be virtual, it could be in person. Either way is totally fine. But you can record it on your phone and play it back when you're driving to your appointments. Sound good? This is a pretty good list, right? I think we can stick to it?
Yeah, I think we can.
What are 2 things you need from me to help you?
It sounds like you'll already do them. I would like an introduction to the reps.
Okay.
If you do that for me. And then I'd like you to call me out in the sales meetings.
I'm happy to do that. Yeah, you got it. I can do that. I will also remind you that you asked me to do it. Okay.
Yep. First meeting, I'll regret it.
I like it. What are 2 things you need from the company?
Oh, gosh. 2 things from the company. Company's pretty good. I'm not sure right now.
Okay. If you think of them, you let me know. Okay. Mm-hmm. Last question for you. 100,000 to 125,000. What does that extra 25,000 do for you personally, you and your family this year? What does that add for you guys? Besides just 25 grand in the bank.
Yeah. It won't go in the bank. It'll take us to Hawaii.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been?
I haven't, but my wife has. I'm a little jealous.
Yeah. You're going to take her? You're not going to get even on the trip?
I would try not to take her, but she would figure it out.
Yeah. Maybe a different flight. You would get her sent past it.
Yeah.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool. How long would you go for?
I'd like to spend a full week.
Yeah.
I like the ocean, but the volcanoes sound pretty darn cool. So I'd like to be able to do both.
If I could make a recommendation, I've been one time, go for 10 days.
Okay.
10 days, right? I will prove it and do both. Yeah. The Big Island is really cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when you hit it and you buy the tickets, you let me know so we can celebrate.
Yep.
Awesome.
Oh, yeah. You'll hear.
I like it. Cool, man. I'm excited for you. So that's exactly how I would run those, right? And it's important to kind of go through that process with somebody And I think tying it back to that last part is really important, right? Because now we have this kind of running list together. And then I'm always going to send an email summary like, hey, here's what we talked about, right? And, I'm probably even going to send you like a picture of Hawaii or something at the bottom of it, like looking forward to, getting a picture or two with you in this next time, kind of thing. But having that roadmap of like where we're going and how we're going to get there is just unbelievably critical. Otherwise, it's February 1st and we're eating 5 pieces of pizza and 3 cookies.
Right. And we lost our gym membership already.
That's it. I mean, we didn't lose it, but like we hid the like the card that gets us into the building underneath the couch cushion. I can't find it. I can't go, kind of like, so it's important. And, I've seen too many people set those meetings up too, where it's like, I blocked out a half hour and they're all back to back to back to back to back to back. Now it's 2-hour block on my schedule. It's an hour meeting because it's going to take 2 hours. And don't do them all in one day. Make them individualized. They're important for the person you're talking to. That it's really, really critical. And once you get them in the routine of it, like they show up prepared and they have a list and they know, and that question of like, what's 2 things you need from me? What's 2 things you need from the company? At first, that list is like, well, I got 15 things, right? But the more they know that you're invested and you're working and you're trying, like the things that like, hey, that's an ask that's ridiculous and we can't do, those things go away because they know you're working for them. They know you're trying. They know that you're doing everything you can, and you'll get a lot of like, you know what? I don't need anything from you. Like, I mean, other than like, keep doing what you're doing and thank you. Like this is, I don't need all that as extra stuff. Like the things we're doing are great. Or you'll get something that's like, hey, could really use this. Like, that's a good idea. I don't know if we can get that done right away, but we'll work on that. Maybe I'll even bring you into building something like that. And then you get real buy-in to stuff. So it's a cool thing when you get that kind of like culture going.
I agree. And it's such a great opportunity, like you said, to get employee buy-in where they're part of the solution. And there's, the manager, you can't do it all. You can't think it all. You can't find all the solutions. And so when you think you have a pretty good system and then you've got somebody that jumps into your meeting and they're like, hey, I've been doing my own research on the side. You should check this thing out. And be like, oh, and then finding out they've been paying for it themselves privately to use it, whatever it is. Like, dude, I'll pay for it. Like, why didn't you tell me? Great conversations.
It's awesome. I can't tell you how many times I've left those meetings where like I've wrote something. I'm like, we'll look into that. I wrote that down and like brought it to my boss. Like, that's a great idea. I'm like, I really want to take credit for it, but it's not my idea. Kind of thing.
I'd like to say I'm that smart. I'm not.
No. I mean, look, I've said it before. My goal whenever I've built a team is to become the dumbest person in the room. It happens much easier than you would think, Jay. But that's it's a beautiful thing when it does happen for sure. So, look, I mean, if I were gonna, summarize this stuff, again, it's just those kind of simple things, right? Repeatable, measurable, and achievable, right? And you just have to make sure that, and again, I think I left a 4th one off there about very specific too, right? The vagueness of these things too often are what killed us. So if you were going to take anything away from it, that would be write those things down for sure. So
then that's what I was going to say is the meeting can be great. The conversation can be great. I think the manager has to be set up to follow up.
Yes.
And I think that's more important almost. Like they need to get that email. They need to get a sheet. They need to have it put in front of them regularly that this is what winning looks like.
100%. Having them write that stuff down, having them walk away with it. And then anytime you're getting back together for your one-on-ones, that's your one-on-one. Like, that is it. Like, are we sticking to our plan or not? And if we are, if it's working or not, if it's not, then we got to reevaluate the plan. Like, this is the plan we came up with together. And like, if we're fully bought into it, then, hey, shoot, we got to put our heads together. It just didn't work. It's okay. We've come up with a new plan, right? It's a cool thing. And it's the time of year to do it, right? And don't wait till December to start looking at these things. You want them to hit the ground running in January. Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's a good episode. I have to rewatch it.
I don't know if I don't like watching this. I don't. Mostly myself. You're fine. I can block myself out. But hopefully there's some good takeaways, and it's fun doing it in person for sure. So it's a little different. But
all right.
Well, are you going to do it, or am I going to have to do it?
You're going to do it.
Oh man. So as much as it pains me to say it, guys, if you liked what you heard today and hopefully in some other episodes, if you could do us a favor and, I don't know, like, subscribe, you hit whatever buttons there are in any other places, we appreciate it. And share it with friends. That's awesome. And if you ever need anything and want to talk to us, please don't hesitate to reach out. Until next time, happy hunting.
Happy hunting.